questions?
Hi, my name is Jamie Thompson, and I didn't quite see from the graph of the German electricity prices, is there a segment of the price now that addresses the cost from the EU carbon cap and trade program? And how much of the electricity cost is due to that? And do you see whether it's anticipated to rise in the near future, or what do you see in terms of prospects of that pricing?
Yes, the carbon trade program is part of the big blue bar, obviously, and is responsible for part of that rise, absolutely. But as I might have mentioned earlier, the first round of these certificates were grandfathered, so the utilities actually didn't have to pay for that. With the expectation, of course, that they also wouldn't charge the consumer for that. But that's not how financial accounting works, because as soon as they have an asset, which these emission rights are, that has a market price, they could use them themselves or sell them. So using them themselves has an opportunity cost, which they price into the generation cost completely. So the question about future price hikes depends on two factors. It depends on how fast the certificates are reduced in volume. And on the other hand, obviously, it depends on the overall amount of coal power that is used in Germany. Because in the current economic downturn, we use much less electricity, and thus also less of the CO2 permits, resulting in the fact that their price currently is very low on the exchange. So all this is to say that, yes, probably.
Yeah, I would like to come back to a question that was raised a little bit earlier. But first of all, thanks for your talk. I think you've shown that the technology is there and the policy framework is there, and both of them have proven to work and to work well. But don't you think, and perhaps this is a little bit outside your area of expertise, but don't you think that what has led to this development really predates the passing of the law in 1994 or in the early 90s? Don't you think that, and maybe this is an opportune time to bring this item up, since we are going to face provincial elections in Nova Scotia, don't you think that it was the breaking away of an educated segment of the Bildungsbürgertum, educated bourgeoisie in the early 80s that finally said, look, the two big parties, the popular parties, have been dragging their feet way too long, irrespective if they call themselves conservative or social democratic. They both have been dragging their feet way too long. An entire political generation broke away from these parties and formed a new political movement that turned out to be quite successful and attracting votes from outside the Bildungsbürgertum. And it is for that reason that the parliamentary process then started to work towards environmental protection. But again, I very much appreciate your talk, but if you do have a historical perspective on this development, I would very much appreciate your comments.
I'm looking to Arne because he's actually a former staffer of that party that you were referring to. He brought me over. He's still working for that party's foundation, as he said in the beginning. So I'm not supposed to say anything wrong here. But I might submit for consideration here that the original law was actually put in place by the Conservative fraction. It was not a green idea. It was an idea that the Conservatives copied from the Danish and US models, and it was the CSU actually who brought it into effect.
But on a note of clarification, the Conservatives got into power after the formation of the breaking away and formation of the Green Party.
The Green Party is to blame for 16 years of Helmut Kohl? I think I'll sort of draw a line here.
Tamara, I'm going to comment and then I'll answer. I think Tamara first.
If that was the case, I would go after that.
Tamara Lawrence, Nova Scotia Environmental Network. Thank you very much, Dr. Woerlen, for your excellent presentation. We really need to give a round of applause to Linda for her leadership in organizing the tour, and also Graham for the excellent work that he's doing with the Climate Action Network. Just a couple of questions. I'm wondering if you can share any kind of innovative programs around demand-side management and conservation, and also how, what things Germany might have done to make it possible for low-income people to afford, retrofitting their homes, to employing these technologies, in their residence. And then just looking at the slides and realizing that it's great what you're doing. It's extremely impressive, but it's not enough. Like the science, as it's saying we need to reduce by 40% by 2020. And decarbonize essentially by 2050. So it a little bit troubles me, when I see the progress, but it's still even not enough. So I was just kind of interested to hear your thoughts about that as well.
I'm kind of impressed that we put in place a package of measures that gives us 36%, and you're saying it's still not enough.
Well, the science are
saying by then, I'm sure we have 12 more years, so I hope that somebody's going to come up with a program that gives us level 4 by 2020, so that we have those 40% by 2020, and I'm happy to report to you on that one when I find that person. More seriously, I think the emissions trading system is going to be rather effective there, and it's going to reduce emissions a lot. It's going to be expanded to other areas, and we hope that also after the Copenhagen Agreement we'll have a global emissions trading system, which then increases the efficiency of the overall system, and also helps us ratchet down further the emissions. On the poor or the disadvantaged populations, Canada and the US are different from Germany in that respect, as that people who don't have much income also don't own homes in Germany. So we have a much higher share in Germany of rented property rather than self-owned property. So the government does not consider insulating homes an issue for the poor. There has been talk about reducing appliance giving out a voucher program basically for the poor to replace inefficient appliances with more efficient ones so as to reduce their monthly electricity bills. There has also been talk about giving some aid to paying down the electricity bills. But this is an issue that does not find currently any parliamentary support, even within the Social Democratic Party, which would be, the party to come up with these kinds of issues. So people think that you can save in a higher income area much more.